are you? What do you want?
God sent me. Get out of here, Matt. I got to warn you. You're doomed to stay. Go.
Hello, children of the night. Welcome back to Blood and Guts presents SlashOrama. With me, as always, Mad Matt. And we got a good one for you tonight. How you feeling, Matt?
Just like you said, Evil Adam, I'm very excited about tonight's episode. It involves a character that we both dearly love that got us into horror at a young age. So, without further ado, won't you let the audience know what we're going to talk about?
Well, tonight we thought we would do a good old-fashioned kill list. That's right. It's a list of epic kills from one of the best franchises, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we got 10. We each picked 10, and we did not share beforehand our 10 kills to make it fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to go down the line tonight and kind of talk about each kill just real quickly, kind of give a little synopsis of the kill. And, they always said that Grandpa was a one-hitter. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start the kill list. What you got, Matt, for number 10 kills?
So, coming at number 10 for me, and it's not one that's technically one I really look at as a great kill, but it does everything for all the wrong reasons, as you put it. So my number 10 is Do Your Thing, Cuz, when Leatherface drops Mayor Hartman into the meat grinder and cuts his arms off with the chainsaw. It's so absurd, it's crazy, but man, I love to make fun of it and to laugh at it because, Adam Marcus, he already let me down with Jason Goes to Hell, and he wasted no time letting me down with Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad one, and I hate that line, and I hate their, little camaraderie they have. I don't know, the whole film just kind of is not.
And I mean, she's the youngest looking mid-40s girl I've ever seen because they couldn't even get their timelines right.
Yeah, and they had a smartphone in there, but we'll get down to that later on.
Well, one last thing for it. It's so absurd that even when you look at the tombstones, they cover out the years so you can't see it and put two and two together. But I digress. So let's throw it over to you, Evil Adam. What is your 10th best kill in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise?
The 10th kill I have isn't from a good movie. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. The 10th Leatherface kill I have, and just because I am who I am, that is the 2022 Netflix kill on the bus with the influencers, because there's nothing better, in that film than watching him on the bus as they're like, you're going to get canceled with their smartphones, and he really doesn't give a shit, so he cuts them all up anyway.
It's so sad.
So horrible.
It's sad because honestly, I could see people doing that.
I could see people doing that as well, but it's just such a horrible film, and that's a funny scene of levity in the film, and I just thought it should be at number 10.
I'm with you. So let's stick with you then. What do you have for number 9?
Number 9, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, which is the 4th film, and I have a kill that does not belong to Leatherface. This is a Velmer kill. Velmer played by Matthew McConaughey as the tow truck driver. And the reason that I love this role is because if you want to watch a film and see complete unhinged McConaughey, this is the one. And the kill that I have is when he runs over Sean with the tow truck. And then he proceeds to back him over with the tow truck. And now he's playing some music in the truck, and you actually see the truck bounce off the ground.
Right.
And you hear the sound of his body crunching under. Although it's not completely gory, it's kind of dark. Mm-hmm. At night, you see this shot. But it's just complete unhinged McConaughey running somebody down with a truck. And that's my number 9 Texas Chainsaw kill.
Well, for my number 9, I'm going to have to go with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 when Chop Top kills LG. So, yes, another one that's not a Leatherface kill. Mm-hmm. But watching LG first fuss at him and then get knocked down. And then you see Chop Top just over him gleefully hitting him over the head, just bashing his brains in. Yep. And then seeing what happens to LG ultimately is after they skin his face off. And he utters the greatest line, "I'm falling apart on you, darling."
I'm falling apart on you, darling. He's got that knife. He's slashing with the knife. Yep.
So, sticking with me then for number 8. Piggybacking right off with you, I got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, and I got Vilmer running over Sean in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. And like you said, it's ultimate McConaughey if you want to see him unhinged. And one of my favorite things is was like, here we go, sports fans, here we go.
Yep.
And then, like you say, you see the truck bounce up and down. So
You see the dust too, because they're on a dusty bit of road, so you see the dust kicking up
Yeah.
from the truck, and I love it.
one of the best parts about it too is whenever Sean goes, "What are you doing, Mister?" He goes, "Well, first I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Ain't no biggie."
Yeah,
and then
and
he
he's
jumps in the truck.
So unhinged, and I know people dog this version of the film or this version of the franchise, but you know what? I don't really have that much of a problem with it. I can watch it. I can watch it, and it's at least better than the 22 or the.
I can watch it, but once it gets to that third act, that's where
It does fall apart there.
fall apart there. But we can, like I said, we'll digress into that in another time. That's definitely a future video that'd be fun to cover.
Oh yeah.
So throwing it back over to you then, Adam. What do you have for your number 8 kill?
Number 8, rolling right back into Next Generation, 1995. McConaughey, Velmer with the head crush with the robotic leg. And the acting is what makes this what it is. He puts his robot leg on her head, and you don't really see the head crushing. You just see him pumping the leg up with the remote control. You hear the robotic sounds, and you hear the crunch, and they make her watch as they crunch the head.
Right.
But it's just McConaughey, once again, being unhinged, just doing a bit of crazy acting.
Yeah.
And I love that scene with the robot leg.
What I love about it too is Matthew McConaughey is not ashamed of that role. He actually he speaks very highly of that role and what it done for him. So I love that about him and hearing those interviews.
And why does he even have the robot leg? Nobody ever knows.
Nobody knows.
So, but there it is. It's the robot leg for number 8 for me.
Sticking with you then. What you got for number 7?
Number 7 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And I don't know the character names, but it's that couple at the beginning when he really has that girl down there and starts putting the saw through her.
Okay, I don't think you ever find out her name.
I don't think you find out her name. She's just a kill that they have at the beginning to kind of like, show you how he acts and who he is.
Right.
But when he runs the saw through her, and you can tell that, like the MPAA, did all the problems with it, but you can tell they're splashing blood up on the mask, and you could tell that in that kill there was obviously more.
Yeah.
But they cut most of it out.
That's what breaks my heart, because you can see more of it in the unrated version, but like you said, the MPAA just for no reason at all. Because when you actually see the finished product, it's really not that bad, especially compared to today. It's really tame. So then throwing it over to me, number 7, I've got the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I got Pam. One of the most iconic kills in the franchise. You see her walking in that low angle, her open back shirt showing, just so you know how painful it is when Leatherface pops out and grabs her up because he's not going to let her go and puts her on that meat hook. So, like I said, it's just iconic. And like I said, it's hard to beat. Obviously, I have 6 more that I enjoy more. But, a lot of people, that'd be one of their number ones, and I can see why.
Yep, and it might be at the top of my list right here as well. So come back over. What are we on 6 now?
Yep.
Yep. Number 6 is 2003 Texas Chainsaw, and I have Kemper's death, and I like that death. I don't really care for this version all so much, but I like Kemper's death because it's got the old black and white cartoons on the projector, and he kind of looks up, and it's too late, and he gets the hammer straight to the head. But then I also love the fact that later you see him wearing the Kemper face.
Yes.
And all those feathers and all those things are floating behind him. All the dust is floating behind him, and he looks up. It's kind of rainy a little bit. And you see the face. She sees that he's wearing the Kemper face, and she freaks out. And that scene in that film, I really did like that scene. So
I'll go ahead and throw my number 6. I got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, but I got Morgan's death, and that's whenever he hangs him up on that good old ceiling fan and splits him from underneath in 2. It's very gory. That whole scene in general is very terrifying when he actually has him cornered in the house, and he basically just tries to save the main character and sacrifices himself. And like I said, Leatherface just he doesn't take it easy on him by no means. So just watching him get split in 2 is just a very, very satisfying death to watch.
Yep. And cutting back, that scene is good. Now I'm thinking about it, and I might have to rewatch that tonight. Number 5 for me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 86, Texas Chainsaw 2, actually, is, and you mentioned this before, LG, Lou Perryman, the actor.
Fantastic.
Beaten, face removed, and I built you a little French fry house is probably one of my favorite lines that I quote all the time.
His death bothers me so much because he's
such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy. And even that scene, I mean, I quote that when we were anytime we go to Orlando and
Yeah.
have French fries at horror nights, I go, I built you a little French fry house, and I'm falling apart on you, darling.
Falling apart on
LG.
you,
I
darling.
mean, it's just so classic. And he's in his boxers, and his face and his chest are all cut up. He's slashing it, trying to cut her rope with the knife, and you think he's going to cut her, just a quick slash. And I love the LG.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
So
Moving right along, then my number 5 is actually from Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, so the prequel to the Michael Bay films, and it's Chrissy's death. And spoiler alert, you obviously, since it is a prequel, we know that Leatherface and them get away. But I think the scene is just so well shot. She's driving the car, you think she's going to get away, and the next thing you know, a chainsaw just bursts out of her chest from the back seat and splits her up in half. And so just the way they shot that, and the way I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, how's she gonna get away? Because I know in the next movie they're still killing and doing all this stuff. And then
Right.
boom, chainsaw pops in, officer, and Jordana Brewster. I mean, she's always been great looking, but I mean, seeing her in that scene, she does a fantastic job. The blood and gore, the effects were amazing in that scene. So like I said, that's number 5 for me.
all right, number 4 for me, sticking with Texas Chainsaw 2. Buzz and Rick the Prick. That's right. And this is, you see the intimidation factor of Leatherface. You see Nubbins, who's supposedly supposed to be the hitchhiker from 1.
Right.
You first see Nubbins. You first see the dance in the back of the truck.
Uh-huh.
And as he cuts through the top of that car, and they're on the phone, hang up, hang up, hang up. She's screaming. It's just such a, and they're so cocky at the beginning too.
Right.
This is Buzz and Rick the Prick, and they're on the phone. And it's just an iconic kill. If you know, you know. And it's a kill that staples Part 2 as probably one of my favorite films from the franchise.
Yeah,
So,
I have to agree with you.
That's my number 4 there, Buzz and Rick the Prick.
My number 4 is back once again to the 2003 remake, and it's the hitchhiker when she commits suicide. And it's one of my favorite shots of the entire franchise, because I love how she blows her brains out, and then the camera pans back through the bullet hole of her head and goes all the way to the back of her head. And just the initial shot, because when you're first watching it, and you think, is this going to be a beat for beat remake of the original, and you see the hitchhiker, so you're thinking, well, maybe they gender flipped it and she's going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
But instead you find out she's a survivor, and when she realizes she's heading back into the town she just escaped, she decides she'd rather kill herself. So I thought that was effectively done. Mark Nispel, the director, shot that. I mean, he had his start in music videos.
We saw that in the theater when it came
We
out.
sure
didn't
did.
we? That's
We
right.
did.
That's right.
And that was one, honestly, just being upfront, friends, when I first saw the remake, didn't really care much for it when I originally saw it. But
That's right, yeah.
over the years, it has grown
It's
and grown.
like
on
a
me.
fine wine.
Yes.
And I kind of have a little more respect for it now as well, because I remember when we went to see it, and this is a side tangent real quick.
Yeah.
When we went to see it, we were such diehard fans of 1, 2, and 3, and 4 for the most part.
Yeah.
That one really left a bad taste in our mouth.
Yeah.
But now, having looked back on it after letting it settle for a little while, I can actually include that into my list.
I love that one.
And by the way, just a quick note, we forgot to say this earlier. There will be violence in this episode, and it's going to be pretty gory. So it's PG-13, spoiler warning.
So throwing it back to you, Adam, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is Texas Chainsaw 74, the OG Franklin. When Franklin gets it, it's a quick kill.
Uh-huh.
He's in the wheelchair, obviously. It's a quick kill. It's not very violent when you look at it, but the implications in your mind of what's going on are pretty gory.
Right.
It's your mind picture is much worse than what's actually happening. But yeah, Franklin, nobody wanted to see him go, and sure enough, Leatherface rounds the corner and
I won't
puts
see him
the
go.
salt through. And a side note I have here too, I forgot to put this HHN 30, the Texas Chainsaw House.
Yeah.
Now we missed this scare in the house, but if you remember the house, there was a Franklin character in a chair that specifically had a hole built inside of his chest, and we missed. This character wasn't there in the boo hole that night, but there was a character supposed to stick the saw through the hole as the Franklin mannequin is in the chair, and we missed it. And I remember seeing the mannequin and seeing the hole and going, "Oh man, that would have been great."
Yeah.
But that was a good part from that house.
Yeah.
So
Moving on for then, I got the OG for my number 3, 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's when Leatherface kills Kurt. And what I love about this one is the first time you lay eyes on Leatherface, and when he just pops out, it's just the initial shock, because when he pops out, he wastes no time raising that mallet and just comes down and cracks Kurt's skull. And then seeing him dying and going into convulsions and his feet's kicking around everywhere, you see the blood on his chest, is just so unsettling, especially like because you almost feel like you're watching a snuff film when you're at that point.
Yeah.
And so Gunnar Hansen does a fantastic job. I mean, obviously, he's the one that breathed life in that original character. So number 3, Death of Kurt, like I said, fantastic for me.
Yeah, number 2 for me is Pam, as you mentioned earlier, for all the same reasons you mentioned. Low angle shot, moving, shirt back, open. Got the hook there. She's going up on that hook. She's hanging there. It's not quite a kill because you're not going to die immediately when you're put on that hook.
Right.
But it's going to hurt like hell, and you are going to suffer as you watch him butcher the rest of your friends, as he does. And so she's sitting up on that hook. She's suffering. It's got those sound effects of the weird creaky sounds going on, and it's very brutal. It's a very hard to watch kill. And I feel like it's definitely an iconic kill from part 1, 74. So Pam is number 2.
Number 2 for me, I've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, where Leatherface splits the drivers in two.
Yep.
So you got Rick the Prick.
Buzz and Rick the Prick.
We'll go see bright lights and big titties.
Big titties. And and they get something else.
Yeah. So you everything you mentioned is exactly what I love. I love when they first antagonize Leatherface, not knowing they're going to see him later on in the movie.
Yeah.
And when they do, they get their comeuppance on there, and just seeing him dancing with the hitchhiker's corpse on there, and then pulling the chainsaw out and cranking it, and then the payoff for me is obviously the blood and the gore. The special effects are amazing. Seeing his skull just slowly slide off and the blood squirting out, and
that big ass saw, it's like a lumberjack saw. It's not your regular Texas Chainsaw 74 saw. It's like a lumberjack saw. It's the big blade, the big bar blade.
And then I love at the very end of that scene where Lefty finally shows up, and they don't even want him near the scene because they know he's just chasing those chainsaw killers from 10 years before or however long it's been. And he goes, well, I tell you what, I ain't never seen nobody can saw his own head off when he's driving.
Yep. That's a great scene.
Evil Adam, what is your number 1 top 10 kill in the Texas Chainsaw franchise?
My number 1 kill is number 1 for a big reason, and that's Kurt with the hammer to the head. And the number 1, I remember the very first time I ever saw this film. I was a kid, and I'd stayed up late. My parents had gone to bed. I put this on. It was probably midnight or later, maybe even later. When he hit Kurt, and you see the body, of course, twitching, like you said, but when he slams the door and you hear that crazy sound effect of almost like a 18-wheeler truck or something, hitting the brakes, is what it reminded me of. That sound effect, and you see behind him the very iconic hallway with the red wallpaper and all the skulls and bones and antlers, and you see the door slam. That is the iconic kill. If you mention Texas Chainsaw 74, that is the first image that pops in my brain. And I feel like that's the kill that just really drives home what you're in for.
Right.
When you put that movie in and what am I in for? This is it. This is going to show you what you're in for.
Well, it's well spoken. For me, my number 1 is original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and when he kills Franklin. And
there you go.
For the exact same reasons that you were speaking of. Like when I think about this movie, I think about Franklin going, Sally, what is that? What did you hear?
What is that?
And then out of nowhere, chainsaw cranks. You see Leatherface's face pop out, and then he just starts sawing Franklin. And in my head, I'm like, if they can kill someone in a wheelchair, anybody can die.
Anybody's fair game.
Anybody's fair game.
Yep.
And so anytime I see a movie like this, and not like Pet Sematary when they killed a kid, which that happened in the novel, but when they kill a kid, you just know the stakes are raised higher.
Yeah.
So the moment like he kills Franklin, pops out, and you see like the blood spraying on his shirt. And for some reason, Tobe Hooper thought he could get a PG rating. I don't know what he was thinking whenever he was making this.
I don't know.
But to me, that scene is iconic.
That's a good one.
And like I said, now I was personally happy to see Franklin because you just see him go because he's just annoying throughout the whole movie. So for me, that's like the best payoff.
Not Franklin.
Yeah, and it just reminds me.
What does he say? What is Dennis Hopper? Franklin,
my little boy, Franklin,
my baby boy, Franklin.
But just
look
fantastic.
what they've done, brother.
The franchise itself, it's up and down, but like those first two, or to me, are complete classics. And then you have some great ones in there too, like the remake is amazing. Like, I love Part 3 and Part 4. But after that, like Texas Chainsaw 3D, Leatherface, and that Netflix one, I can take or leave.
Yeah. Those are kind of hit or miss for me as well as the franchise. And all these franchises are rocky. Everything from Friday to Nightmare to all of them are kind of have your good, your bad, and your ugly.
Yeah.
But this is our Texas Chainsaw kill list, and we're probably going to do a few more of these kill lists for you guys because this was really fun to do, and like I liked personally hiding the list from you,
that was
not
fun.
really sharing them. Because I was wondering the whole time if we were going to crisscross. I knew we would, but I just didn't know crisscross. Yeah, where we would cross over on our list. But this was a lot of fun doing the kill list.
So leave in the comments, friends and fiends, what are your top 10 kills?
We really want to hear your favorite kills, and spare no expense on the gore.
Yeah.
And remember to like and subscribe. Stay spooky, and remember that the Saw is family.